Ta-da!
There's Red. Hey.
Ooh, and my earbuds again.
Oh.
Awesome. It's good to see you, dear. How in the world are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good for a bald guy who's about to turn 59.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know. 1 year left before the big 6-0 is me.
Wow.
As of midnight tonight. Actually, 3 minutes after midnight. That's when I was born. So.
Wow. Well, happy early birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
Because I won't be
folks,
awake.
I promise I won't call and say, where's my present?
Sure.
Hey, appreciate you all coming and hanging out. It's good to see you all in chat. I'm Brett, your thing from Carnivore. You know this nice lady, Amber, here, the Lone Star Keto gal. We appreciate you all being here. This is our version of the KetovoreKast. Yes. I said it right for not
you
saying
did.
it
Oh
for
my
3 weeks. I got it right.
Wow.
Hey, Tall Redhead. Hey, Sarah. It's good to see you all. Appreciate you coming out. And we're going to talk about things related to the carnivore way of eating. And if you in chat have any questions at any time, we see them. We're going to stop talking as soon as we can and answer your questions. So please be a part of the conversation. Otherwise, you're going to get tired of hearing us just blah, blah,
blah, blah, especially that one. You know, because I'm extremely interesting. I don't know, so.
Thanks, Tracy, for the kind birthday. My birthday's tomorrow, guys. I appreciate it very much. So, Amber, let's get right to it. There's it's flu season. Mm-hmm. The coronavirus is scaring the hell out of people. I'm not worried about any of it. You've had the flu run through your family. Your first time as a carnivore.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, it was kind of, first my husband got it, and he got it bad. I'm talking really bad. He was literally laid up in bed for 3 complete days. I mean, he was down and out. And of course, he exposed me, my mother, and my grandbaby before he ever even knew he had it. So there was really nothing he could do about it. Well, guess what? The baby got it. That was awful, but and I got it. Well, it ended up that now I did start taking Tamiflu because my husband was prescribed the Tamiflu, but his was already so progressed that at that point the Tamiflu wasn't really going to do much good. So he told me to start taking it as soon as I started having symptoms, and I did. I took either 2 or 3 doses. I can't remember how many, but I didn't do the full thing or anything. But the bad part only lasted kind of sort of a day. It wasn't even that bad. And the baby, a matter of fact, hardly had any issues at all. She was running a fever, but as long as she had a little bit of Tylenol, she was perfectly fine. So, I mean, me and the baby just didn't have a hard time with it. So,
well, see, as I understand things, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't your grandbaby on a carnivore way of eating?
Pretty much. I mean, breast milk and meat and yogurt for the most part. She gets a little bit of other things that mom and dad give her at nighttime. But most of the time it's meat. And so, yeah, you could kind of say she's pretty much carnivore. Yeah.
She's very low carb keto at the worst.
Yes, exactly. Yes. They don't really give her much junk. I mean, she doesn't get junk. She doesn't get, like a bunch of sweets or anything like that. Maybe like a little tiny bite of something, like a little bite of bread or something. But most of the time, not really.
Now the grandbaby didn't get any Tamiflu, did she?
She did, but she kept puking it all up. The taste was so vile, she puked it right up. So how much got in her system? I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine much. My daughter seems to think that she got basically none because as soon as she swallowed it, it came right back up because she didn't like the taste. She could keep other stuff down. It wasn't that. It was the taste of the medicine. So she never even got to keep anything down. So I don't know. I mean, did some absorb? I don't know.
Well, talking the video over the last couple of days, I don't remember exactly which day, about basically if you're taking care of yourself and you're eating a proper human diet, you really don't have much to be concerned about, even with the regular flu, because our immune systems aren't being compromised by consuming toxins. So I'm happy that the flu went through your house without any
Major,
outstanding
really.
damage.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to come through our house at all, to be honest, because number one, I'm not gonna rub my eyes while I'm out in public or put my hands in my mouth where I'm out in public. It's just common sense, folks. Common sense. Keep your bodies healthy. Keep yourself strong. Your flu's a non-issue, in my opinion.
And the last time I had the flu, I was 18 years old. Okay, I'm 53, so that was a long time ago. And I have never had the flu shot ever. This was the first time since I was 18. When I had it way back when, oh my God, that was the worst thing. I think that was worse than childbirth, I'm pretty sure, because I thought I was really dying. And my head hurt so bad, I thought I was going to like explode right off my body. It was just most miserable. I remember the pain and the misery. And I was like, I never want to have that crap again. And this past time, I don't know if it was because of my diet, if the little bit of Tamiflu I took, I don't know. But it was kind of a nothing burger, really. I mean, it wasn't fun. I'm not going to say that, but it wasn't any worse than like a cold or something that just kind of, made you down and out, and you just kind of didn't feel so good for a little while. But it was not really that major. And I am definitely not worried about the coronavirus. I'm not saying that I want to have it or anything like that, or I'm not, washing my hands and, trying to be careful in public or something like that. But I wouldn't be canceling cruises or anything like that if I was on one, unless it went to a specific port that I knew was going to be closed, or they were going to, confine the cruise and not let anybody off. That would be a little bit different than I would cancel. But as far as the, worried about getting something, I wouldn't go on a cruise if I was worried about catching stuff, because you just never know what kind of germs are going to be floating around, So, I'm not real concerned about that, but that's me. And I know people get like really triggered over this. And I don't really understand why. I mean, yes, I get that it's serious for some people and that kind of thing, but just like going overly, freakazoid over, I don't really get that. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you were in the area where there was a lot of that going on, okay. But for the most part, I just don't get really the fear going on, really.
I think there's a lot to be said about there's a reason why you're not afraid. There's a reason why I'm not afraid. And I truly believe it's because we're not inflamed. Our bodies are functioning properly. Our minds are working mostly right. And we don't, that fear factor, that dissatisfaction, that thing that happens when you're actively participating in sugar addiction and you're all inflamed and messed up, and we know what that was like.
Well, yeah, and when your immune system is compromised, I mean, it makes sense, because if your body's not functioning properly, your immune system can't function properly. So it makes sense with any illness. It's not just flu or anything. I mean, it's anything. I mean,
we've got a connection between you and I could be a little better. You're a little pixelated, but I can hear you just fine. So if we're going to keep right on going along. Okay. So, Amber, taking care of yourself, and you're eating an ancestrally appropriate diet, meat and water, in that nuanced way. Hey, flu's not really a concern. And the coronavirus, I hope nobody gets it. And I hope everybody who does feels better ASAP. But it's not something I'm going to worry about. Let's see. I mentioned something about, have you ever heard of carb creep?
Yeah. Sure have.
It seems to be an issue for a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
What I mean by carb creep is we're talking specifically about dairy. And for a lot of people, dairy is a problem. Somebody saying the flu went through their office, and they're the only one that didn't catch it. Carnivore has been great for their immune system. Right on, man. Right on. I'll share this, and then I'll move on to the dairy issue. It dawned on me the other day earlier this week, I was reading on Facebook, all these panic, everybody freaking out over this coronavirus, and it dawned on me, I haven't had so much as a cold since November of 2018. That was the last time I was the least bit under the weather. And I had an upper respiratory infection from the work at that time. I would spend my hours of the day at work between two freezers in a big box store. So, and I wasn't, they wouldn't let me dress to stay warm. Well, after I got sick, I made sure I dressed to stay warm, whether they liked it or not. But I haven't had a sniffle. I haven't run a fever. I haven't had a cold. I haven't had a sore throat or anything since November of 2018. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I could, flu, coronavirus, please. Just eat meat, drink water, people. You won't catch this stuff. That's my opinion based on my experience. No hitting, carb creep and dairy.
Yeah.
I see people having issues with it all the time. You want to describe it how you understand it, and then I'll take a shot at it.
Okay. Do you want me to put in my experience?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because that's okay. Right. You've got I was going to blame. You got firsthand knowledge, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, why don't you share that?
I will. Let's be real here. Just so you know, I am not perfect. I am not. And if you think that every single thing is, that I put in my mouth is completely perfect, no, it's not. Okay, I'll just go there. Back in October, I decided that the pumpkin spice thing, which for some reason I just love that. I just felt like I wanted to have some coffee, the pumpkin spice coffee. I mean, I'm not talking one of them, bad ones you get at Starbucks. I'm talking at home using, pumpkin spice coffee with a little cream, that kind of thing. And it is just kind of comforting because it was kind of cold. There was a little cold spell. And then I just, why? I mean, it's just coffee and a little cream, right? No big deal. Dairy didn't bother me, right? I was off of dairy for 7 months, so no big deal. And I added it back in a little bit. It was fine. Okay. So I kept drinking the coffee because it was just kind of comforting and it was kind of nice. I'm not a big coffee person. I actually really don't drink much coffee, except for, when I started in October. And it's really not the coffee, honestly. It's the mouthful feel of the cream and the warmth. I don't know. There's just something about it, whatever. Anyway, that little bit of cream turned into a little more cream, and then a little more cream, and then I made whipped cream in my little canister thing with the little NO2 cartridge dilly. It didn't have sugar or anything. It was just the cream. But so I was putting cream in my coffee, and then I was topping it with cream. So we're talking cream, 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 cream.
She might have been a cream junkie.
Yeah, it was just so decadent, right? And, I had broken all my sugar addiction, carb addiction, all that kind of stuff. It was all great. And, I never had issues with dairy, right? I never did. No, right? And it just got out of hand. Oh my goodness, it got out of hand. So then I was like, okay, you know what? This has got to go because this is an addiction. And, I just got through dealing with all that and I was good to go. And then here's this stupid cream. What in the world was that? So I finally weaned myself off enough to where I stopped doing that really decadent topping, the cream, whipped cream. I quit doing that. And then I started reducing the cream. And I actually have gone, multiple days without having any coffee with any cream at all. And just every so often I'll have a cup. So I'm down to, pretty much having it like for the weekend, Saturday mornings or whatever with just like, just a teeny bit of cream. And I'm hoping that it will be gone really soon. And the thing is, I know for sure the weather's already starting to warm up and we have spring. All of our trees and stuff are blooming and the mountain laurels are all, and it smells so good around here. So spring is in the air, right? And then coffee just does not interest me because I don't want warm. So I'm really hoping that I just completely get rid of that. But guess what, people? Cream has carbs. Yeah, it does. It has carbs. And guess what? When you have, a freaking half a cup of cream, guess what? It adds up. Oh, goodness. Yeah. And don't think you can't get addicted to it. I know people get so triggered over dairy. I don't know why, but they do. But I'm not saying anything bad about dairy. Dairy's awesome. Love me some dairy. But for some people, it can cause cravings. It can cause some addiction. It can cause some stomach problems. And when I switched over to carnivore within that first week, I knew my digestion was like spot on. But when I really got heavy with the whipping cream, I did start noticing some issues in my stomach. And I'm like, really? Okay. So apparently I do have a little bit of an issue with dairy between the addiction part and it messing with my digestion a little bit. I mean, it's nothing horrible, but I imagine if I would continue with that and keep increasing that whipped cream, I would really be having a problem. But it does all add up. And the lactose in dairy can cause some cravings, just like sugar. So I seriously warn you people, especially those who think, oh, I don't have problems with dairy. Well, guess what? I didn't think I did either. And it's been kind of an eye-opening thing for me because I thought I was done with all that, completely done. So be very careful with the dairy. I'm not saying don't eat it or it's bad or anything like that. Just be careful because I thought I was one of those people who had no issue. So that's my thing.
I appreciate you sharing that. It's important for people to understand, dairy has carbohydrates in it.
Yes, it does.
And every time you consume those carbs, it converts to glucose. And that's part of that sugar addiction cycle that can be reignited like that.
Yes.
Even though you're not putting an actual sweet taste in your mouth. Oh, that's why it's so, I haven't had dairy of any kind except for I cook with butter. That's all I use dairy-wise is I cook with butter. And there's no need to change. I was never a cheese eater.
Yeah.
But I have observed, and I've watched people talk about in different videos, about, I wanted to eat cheese again. Cheese is 0 carb, right? Yeah, sure. And they just had, a little chunk of cheese. Well, then that little chunk of cheese became a little bigger chunk of cheese. And then that became an even bigger chunk of cheese. And then before you know, they're eating half a wheel of cheese at a time. Yeah. And they're not filling up on meat. And their weight starts going back up. They start having other symptoms come back in. Because that glucose, when we become, for some of us, if we become the least little bit insulin resistant, it's a problem. So that's why I always recommend the first 30 to 90 days that anybody does the carnivore way of eating, kick the dairy to the curb. Get yourself off of that glucose carb cycle nonsense. Let your body absorb some ancestrally appropriate nutrition and give yourself a chance for success. Yeah, half a wheel of cheese. That's what addiction does to people.
It does. I mean,
if you get a chance, there's a lady named Dr. Joan Eiflin, I can't pronounce her last name, Eiflin. There's an episode with her on the Nutrition with Judy podcast, or her YouTube channel, Jody Cho's YouTube channel. A 2-part interview. She talks about the addiction of food, goes into great detail. And I recommend everybody go listen to that, watch it, because you'd be surprised at the ways we were made addicted by the foods that we were told, hey, dairy's good for you. Yeah, someone says dairy keeps you snacky. It sure can.
It can, yeah.
It sure can. I've had exactly this many snacks as a carnivore, and I've wanted this many.
Yeah.
It's glorious. It's nice to be free of all that. But seriously, folks, be careful with your dairy.
Yes.
Please be careful with your dairy.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's
right.
bad.
I'm not either. You just have to be cautious with it.
Yep.
All right. Victoria R333 asks, is anyone concerned with the quality of meat, the GMO-fed cows, etc.? I have zero concerns with eating grain-fed beef, period. It's all I can afford. I'm thriving. I mean, look at me. I feel incredible, and I see, I crave and can't afford. Grass-fed might be one to three. Dr. Kim Berry today said grass-fed meat was maybe 1 to 3% better than
I was about to bring that up.
And it's not worth the money to me. And if it added 50 years to my life, if I can't afford it, it's unattainable. What good is it?
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. What's your thought, darling?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I occasionally do have grass-fed. Grass-fed, yeah, that's right. But for the most part, I had to think, what did I say? But for the most part, I eat the prime ground chuck, and it's grain-fed beef, and that's what I have twice a day, pretty much every day. And I'm not having any issue with that. I don't feel like my health is suffering in any way. Is there some benefit to it? Probably. I'm not going to deny that. And if you can afford it, hey, go for it. But I think for most of us, that's kind of not really obtainable, especially if you have a whole family you're trying to feed. That gets extremely expensive. If you had a place to, get it that was affordable, yeah, okay, go for it. Definitely I'm not going to hurt anything. But as far as grain fed, I'm not overly worried about that. And I have not seen anything that is like out there saying, absolutely, if you do not eat this, you're gonna, not be healthy. I haven't seen anything like that. But.
I think it's important for people to remember ruminant animals, they can convert this stuff that we cannot process at all as human beings and convert it into nutritious, delicious, human, ancestral, awesome nutrition called meat.
Yeah. And
I think there's a lot of ridiculousness in this fear-mongering about they're eating refuse, cows are fed stuff, like they're fed soy products, they're fed stuff that aren't fit for humans, but they don't hurt the cows, to my understanding. Does Dr. Baker look like he's suffering?
Yeah, I don't think
somebody said, if they're converting grass, they're converting plant matter into steak, or for me, ground beef.
Yeah.
Exactly. So no, we don't really have any worries about that at all.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's see. What else are we going to talk about, darling? I see on our sheet of paper here. Hey, you're going to the Carnivore conference, aren't you?
I am.
I am too. I learned something really special the other day that I'm so excited about. And it's been kind of a dream of mine ever since I watched the Carnivore Conference videos on YouTube from last year. I'm like, I really want to be there. And I'm going to get, on Sunday, May the 24th, I'm going to get to share my N=1 mental health experience. I'm very thankful for that wonderful opportunity. I'm just so excited. And
it's pretty exciting.
It is. And Michaela Peterson is speaking on Sunday morning. I'm going to get to meet and thank her personally for figuring it out and telling her dad so her dad could tell me. And her dad could tell millions of other people. Because what that young lady has done for just our household, I don't have the vocabulary. It has been transformative. It has been profound. And if I had $1 trillion and gave her all of it, it still wouldn't be enough. It really wouldn't. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
I'm looking
I know
forward
you are. Oh, my
to thanking her. And
I'm going to have to warn her. I'm gonna have to.
I already have.
Security.
She knows what's coming. And see, my wife will be there, so she's a good governor on my behavior. Believe me.
Okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
But it's so exciting. I'm going to get to meet a lot of the people that not just I admire, but have inspired me. Like, I'm going to get to meet Kelly Hogan. You're going to get to meet Kelly Hogan. Yep. And why is that significant? People are like, who's Kelly? Kelly Hogan is a 10-year carnivore. And my first 30 days, I listened and watched all of her interviews, all of the podcasts she had done, because she's a Southern girl. She's a North Carolina gal. And she sounds like she could be one of my cousins. And I really appreciate her, relate to her very much. And I was blessed to be interviewed by her a couple of weeks ago. We had a wonderful time. So getting to meet her, she's already told me, I'm going to hug your neck and I'm going to hug your wife's neck really hard. So we're really excited. And then there's the people that we learn from that are going to be there. Georgia Ede is going to be there speaking there. And I've said this line time and time again. I'll never have another psychiatrist unless it's Georgia Ede or Paul Saladino.
Right. Hey, is anybody else going to KarnivoreCon? That's on right now? Anybody? Denver?
Thanks, Fearless Rocks, Fearless Fat. I appreciate that so much. Okay, somebody's asking, is it okay to be carnivore mostly but have some veggies when they miss them? If you want to eat a low-carb, ketogenic diet, have some veggies. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There's people been doing that for ages. Tall Redhead says she thinks she's going to go to Low Carb New York. Well, you give Tro a big hug and tell him that's from Brett. Tell him that's from Thankful Carnivore. Because I had the privilege of talking to Dr. Tro on the Low Carb MD podcast a couple weeks ago. And the power went out in the middle of that. We're having a great time and the power goes out. Craziness.
Yeah.
So please there, Tall Redhead, give Tro my best. He's a good man. Really good guy. And I hope you have a wonderful time at the conference. But we're seeing these 10-year carnivores coming out of the woodwork. Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, she's going to be there. She's another 10-year carnivore. I'm not sure if Dana Shute, who's a 12-year carnivore, recently interviewed by Kelly Hogan. I think she might be there as well, although that's still up in the air. We're in Florida, in the northeastern part of Florida. Yeah, that's where we're at. Meat cookies, that's right. Kelly and her meat cookies. I do know, she and I both talk. We've got to, when Brett's on this channel, we've got to talk and compare meat cookies. Because I eat the big 10 and 14 ounce patties, and hers are quarter pounders. We both forgot about it. Kelly Fit Mom, Amber of Amberland. I just called you Kelly. I'm so sorry.
What? Well, we kind of talked that maybe we might be related, so.
That's true. That's possible. So could be just keeping it in the family. Fit Mom 130 asks, what about supplement magnesium and potassium and electrolytes? You want to take that first? You want me to?
Well, for me, I mean, if you feel like there's a reason for you to be taking it, are you getting cramps? I mean, is there something not right? Is your energy low? That kind of thing. For the most part, I mean, from what I understand, a lot of us are deficient in magnesium. That seems to be a really common thing. I'm not so sure that that's the truth with carnivore, though, when you're eating just nutrient-dense food. But I personally don't do any supplementation. I do salt my food. I mean, yeah, so I get in plenty of sodium. But other than that, I mean, I rely on what's in the meat, and I'm perfectly fine. I'm not having energy issues or any cramping or anything like that. So I personally don't think that it's really necessary unless you really see that there is a reason for it. But I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I use magnesium lotion because my lower calves and my ankles, my feet will have the occasional cramp, although it's gotten a lot better. My ankle feels, when I get one of those cramps in my ankle, it's like my foot's trying to unscrew itself. It's not a pleasant thing. And they always happen at 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning. They never happen in the middle of the day. They never happen in the early evening or right before it's time to wake up. Oh, no. 2:30 to 3:30 a.m. That's when they'll happen for me. But it's just called magnesium lotion. It's a white lotion. We found it on Amazon, and I don't require a lot of it, but I smear it on, a layer on my calf and feet and ankles, and I never have a problem. So that's how I deal with it. Great question. Don't hesitate. Somebody says, what about the Andersons? Well, what about the Andersons? I guess enormous respect for them. I hope to meet them in person and feast with them one day because, hey, they're in Florida too. They're very private. They have young children. And it was a few years ago, they actually had people threaten them over feeding their children nothing but meat. Threatened to take.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. There was legal action threatened. It was a very serious issue. So they've decided that until their children are of age, they're going to keep it all to themselves.
Wow.
But I can't think of two people that have been a better silent ambassador for this way of eating than Joe and Charlene Anderson. He's 61 and looks like he's 30, 35 tops, and Charlene 46 and looks like she's 25. I mean, it's insane. Okay, Bright Blur, number 1 is asking, do y'all only do beef or do you have other meats or eggs in your diet? Take off, Amber.
I have other meats. I mainly eat beef. Pretty much lunch and dinner are meat cookies. And occasionally I will have something different. Like tonight I'm making these I guess you call them keto enchiladas because I'm using the cheese folio rolls and there's like chicken in the middle. So I'm going to eat a little bit of the chicken breast along with my meat cookie. But for the most part, I pretty much eat beef, but it's not because I feel I have to or, for any other reason other than I just prefer it. I like my, meat cookies and I like my fillets, but I'm not, against eating any other type of food. I mean, we had elk and we have venison and we have wild hog and that kind of thing. And I like bison. I mean, I like a lot of different meats. I just tend to, my go-to is beef, but there's not a reason for it other than I just like it.
Well, my freezer's not quite as diverse as some people's, but that's fine because I thrive on the lean ground beef. It's the most satisfying. That 90-10 and 93-7 ground beef is insanely satisfying for me. I've been eating that bacon ground beef combo almost exclusively, except for maybe 4 or 5 meals since December of 2018. And it's delicious. It's insanely delicious every time. I get asked frequently, don't you ever get tired of eating that day after day after day?
I get asked that. Yep.
If I was tired of it, I wouldn't be putting it in my mouth.
It was funny, last night we had gone to a restaurant and we met some friends and I got hamburger patties. So it's like, it's not even when I go out sometimes, unless it's a steak restaurant, then I'll probably get my filet. But I mean, I ordered the same thing I would have had at home. So go figure.
I can't imagine at this point in time. I am so dialed in and so completely satisfied in enjoying what I'm eating. I just don't feel a need to change. And it's really hard for people to understand. And I think that's part of the mindset problem that our Western society has. 100,000 years ago, people weren't going, oh, this steak is, this is really good. It's entertaining. And, oh, geez, let's have a little of this and a little. No, it wasn't like that. And, food for me is fuel in medicine. It's all it is. It's not this, it's not entertainment. What is there to, I only eat the meat I crave and can afford. What is there to get bored with? What is there to be tired of? I just don't.
Yeah, I think that is, we've wrapped everything. And I was guilty of that too, because, and I still appreciate a pretty presentation. I do this weird thing where I like to look at the dessert menu, not because I'm going to order it, not because I crave it, not because I want it. It's just pretty. And I like pretty things. So, I appreciate the presentation and, you have your green, you have the whatever. It is pretty, okay? I'll give you that. But, it's not like I'm going to eat it, but.
I did not know this. Fuel for Life, her daughter is Keto Teen Megan. I did not know that till just now when she told us in chat. You, my dear, have one well-formed young lady.
I've adopted her, just so you know. I'm her second mother, so.
She has the most beautiful attitude.
I love her, yes.
Healthy. She is going to have such a magnificent life if she sticks with this way of eating. I mean, I'm really rather jealous of her, man.
Me too.
It's a challenge for me at times to not play that. If I had known about the carnivore way of eating at age 12,
I know.
What would be different? Well, everything would be different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Would have saved me a lot of grief.
Not just a little bit different. I mean, well, you still would have married your high school sweetheart, most likely.
Yeah.
But I would have had a different high school sweetheart, I can assure you that, because I would have been thinking better.
Oh, no. Yeah, but Megan, she rocks. Y'all, if y'all aren't following her, be sure to follow her. She's absolutely adorable. And so, I mean, for her age, wow. I mean, she's well beyond her years in thinking, but she must have some pretty wonderful parents to.
I'd say she's got some great parents for that to be happening.
That's what I'm thinking.
So kudos to you, Fuel for Life, on a fantastic individual that you're raising. And she's already being a great example for others.
Absolutely. Very proud of her.
And at age 14, that's, for most 14-year-olds, that's impossible.
Yes.
And she's slaying it. That's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that with us, that's your daughter. Just imagine, I put out a meme about this the other day. If we just all stop participating in this disease management paradigm, not the money that would be saved, not just our health, which is always more valuable than any dollar amount, but the difference in our society as a whole, the things that we waste money on now for health care.
Yes.
That don't really help anybody. It's just disease management.
Yeah, it's so sad. The whole thing is just sad. Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think the other day how many billions and billions of dollars are poured down the drain on. Mm-hmm. How many millions and billions of dollars have been spent on telling us to eat a low-fat diet so we could all get fat and sick really fast? Think about the, in our own hospitals today, a person with type 2 diabetes could go in to have a toe removed, and what do they get for breakfast? Toast.
Oh, yeah.
Cereal. Orange juice.
Skim milk.
Mm-hmm. Maybe an egg yolk.
You might get bacon, maybe.
Might get some bacon, maybe a boiled egg. That's all. That's pure poison for somebody with type 2 diabetes. And yet that's what they're doing in the hospital.
Yep.
So I can't help but think if we Ancestrally appropriate food. I saw Ken Berry today. I'm sorry. I just want to say ancestrally appropriate food now. I can't stop. I have to tell him to say something else soon. So I get off that broken record. But the point is, we're designed to thrive on meat. We're not designed to be good sugar addicts. We're not designed for that. So if we just kick this disease management nonsense to the curb and focus on health creation.
Absolutely.
I think not just will our society be better in general, but it'll be better overall. Because how hard is it to fight and argue when you're not inflamed and you're happy? It's really tough. Let's see. We got some great comments in here. Let's see. Well, this is an interesting, relevant comment. I don't want to say it's great. Heather on ketone says her boyfriend has chronic pancreatitis. Yikes! They have him fast and then rest the pancreas to start on a liquid diet. The liquid diet is soda, Italian ice, juice, and then pudding. And then they release him and say, go on a low-fat, high-carb diet. It's a horror show.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a horror show.
Wow.
Now, that's how
scary.
messed up our medical system is right now. We're harming people under this false notion that fat is bad.
That's terrible.
And, you know,
wow.
one of the things that, yeah, Tall Redhead says that's fat shit. I concur, dear. That's a quote. That's not Brett going off on a swearing tangent. That's a direct quote. But like Dr. Berry was talking about today, this paradigm's got to change because, and we're the ones changing it. And I'll take what he said and use you as an example. You know, if there was 100,000 Amber Wentworths around with your experience, your story, do you think people would be able to just ignore it? Of course not.
That's why we got to speak up. That's why you got to, tell your stories and, just, it can never be too much, really, to get that word out there. And Sean Baker is trying so hard through MeatRx. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out, because that's his whole thing, is trying to get the word out there and to show that maybe there's a different way to look at nutrition. And he's doing a fabulous job. And I'm really honored to be able to be a coach under MeatRx, because I think he's just doing a fabulous job with that.
I am so happy to be affiliated with MeatRx and to be one of the coaches. Too. It's been so rewarding. Talking to clients is truly been a joyous blessing, and it's really special when you see that look in their eye when they get it, when they're like, oh, that's why I shouldn't put stevia in my coffee, or that's why artificial sweeteners are bad for me. I understand it now. It's so special, and Dr. Baker is just not just profoundly intelligent. He has a vision. Yes. He has a plan, and it's not some immediate based on a quarterly result. Oh no, this is to bust this disease management paradigm and replace it with a health creation paradigm.
And he's given up a lot, y'all. I don't think people really understand, because they're like, oh, he's a doctor, he's rich, he's got this money. He's given up a lot. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
And he's doing this because he wants to help. He really honestly does. And there are other doctors out there like Ken Berry who are doing the same thing. Ryan Zinski, am I saying his name right? I mean, there's so many good doctors out there trying to, get that word out there and like you said, health creation.
That's exactly right. Let's see, tall red-haired gal asked a question about how's my dad doing? And now, a lot of you people may not be aware of this. My dad's 82 years old. He suffered from type 2 diabetes for over 20 years and was on insulin, giving himself shots for about 15 of that. And unfortunately, his kidneys crapped out on it. So he's suffering what's called end-stage renal disease, and only dialysis is keeping him alive. He also, unfortunately, due to type 2 diabetes and his, decades of insulin resistance, he suffers from dementia. And it's very unfortunate. He recently, to answer that question, how's he doing? He's doing a little bit better now because they're doing dialysis at home. And that's improved his quality of life greatly because he's not having to spend 4 to 6 hours in some office waiting, and then sitting there for 4 hours for the process, unable to leave, go do anything, etc. So he's doing a little bit better. I call and talk to Mom 2 or 3 times a week. Dad answered the phone today, which is always an adventure. But I'm happy to say he knew who I was, and he was appropriate for time and place. He was having a good day. So that's how Dad's doing. And he's a great example of what the suffering that the disease management paradigm creates. It doesn't create health, it creates misery.
Yep.
Period. It's just like with my depression and anxiety. I compliantly took those meds that they told me would make me feel better for over 20 years. And it just didn't work at all. And wow, this meat and water thing, it's like magic, except it's not magic, it's biology.
Yep.
We were sorely misinformed.
Failed. Yes.
Yes, the system has definitely failed us collectively. And that's why we're doing this. You're right. My dad does deserve help. We all deserve help.
Yes.
And as Ken Berry said in so many words today and has said before, and Dr. Baker uses different terminology. He calls it a guerrilla war, an asymmetric war. We're moving the needle one story at a time. And it's no longer just N equals 1. We're N equals thousands.
Yes.
So if you've lost 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20, whatever it is, don't undervalue the inspirational power of your story and experience.
Absolutely.
Because they're game changers for real, not game changers propaganda movie nonsense crap, but real reality, moving the needle towards health across the board. And that's what we're about. Let me look down here at the magic sheet of paper, darling. I have had a little more, but that's okay. We're going to be just fine. I also want to talk about the importance of everybody sharing their experiences across your social media, because that's how we're going to win this. Let's see, somebody says they're losing jiggle every month. Well, that's great. We want you to lose jiggle every month. Absolutely. I'm not going to criticize wanting to lose some jiggle. Because I've lost my share of jiggle on this journey, let me tell you what.
Me too.
But
Jiggle.
I want to encourage everybody here to remember, your health matters, and nobody, under any circumstance, should surrender that desire to be healthy, specifically in social situations.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting asked a lot lately about, what do I do? And how do you all manage the social thing? I have trouble going out to eat in public and whatnot. And we've been doing this long enough that I don't worry about going out in public and eating at all in social settings, because I'll just tell folks straight up, I only eat meat, I drink water, it's for my sanity, and that's non-negotiable. Period.
I don't make excuses or whatever. I eat the way I want to eat, and restaurants usually don't have an issue with that. I mean, they really don't. I mean, if you just ask it, sometimes they mess things up because it's not normal. But for the most part, I mean, they're usually pretty accommodating. I don't usually don't have an issue.
I don't either. I always let them know straight up front, though, that the size of their tip is going to be a direct relationship to how well they follow my instructions. And then I explain, I only want meat. I don't want sides. For God, love of God, don't bring me any bread. I might throw it at them. Just because I said, don't bring me any bread. I can't even stand the smell of fresh bread, which is, I remember when that used to be a good smell. Because back where I grew up, Heiner's Bakery, right there on Washington Avenue, you drove by it all the time. And and it was a beautiful, they're baking right now. It smells so good. When I was up there last year visiting, I went past there and I thought, oh, that's horrible. No. Okay, Trent Strength says, hi guys, I have multiple sclerosis and I'm on board to fix myself with this stuff. Listen, Trent, you're on the right path. I know a lady from my hometown who was told, she's a few years older than me, and she was told 3 years ago, that she could look forward to spending most of the rest of her life in a wheelchair due to multiple sclerosis. She had progressive primary multiple sclerosis, the type that supposedly never goes into remission. And she saw me talking about carnivore and what I was doing. I was maybe 2 months into carnivoring. And she messaged me and asked me to explain what I was doing. And so I gave her a link to Zeroing In on Health and told her what I was doing. And she started zero carb. And after 2 months, she was 100% symptom free. She fired her neurologist.
Wow.
And it's been well over a year now, and she's still not in a wheelchair, and she's thriving, doing very, very well. And it's because of that experience that I made up my mind. I've got to share this, and that's kind of where the Thankful Carnivore began. Was right with that story there.
That's awesome.
And
also on MeatRx, they have a bunch of success stories, and there might be some more instances of that. I'm not sure, but I bet there are.
If there's a lady named Emily, she's got a YouTube channel called The Center of Brilliance. Go check it out. She suffered from bipolar disorder and started carnivore. And after she started carnivore, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis right at the very beginning. And she stuck with it. And now she's, I believe, completely symptom-free. And I know she's not on any meds of any kind whatsoever. So trust your, I got to go back. I'm scrolling back to find that person that said, okay, to Trent Strength, stick with it. Eat your meat, drink your water, trust your body, be patient. That P word. I haven't got to say the P word in a while.
My favorite word.
You're welcome, Trent. Peace be with you on your journey. And if you have any problems or questions, you could just throw them at her or I, whichever one you choose. We'll do our best to answer them and try to get you on the path to success. But if you eat your meat, drink your water, we don't have to say a word. You're going to be fine.
Yep.
Because I've never seen anybody do this that didn't have a positive outcome. I haven't. Have you?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, I'm sure they're out there. We just don't hear of them. But we also don't hear of 5 and 6 and 10-year carnivores putting up a YouTube video saying, I'm sorry, I have to announce today that I'm no longer a carnivore because my health went south on me, and my doctor said if I didn't start eating my heart was going to die, or I was just irreparably ill. No, we're not seeing that at all anywhere.
Nope.
Well, what we do see is people who aren't happy with eating that way. Okay, if you're not happy with it, don't eat this way. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to twist your arm. And they go back to keto, and they're doing fine. And it's not for everybody.
And that's the thing. I think what people need to really understand is not everybody has to go as far as carnivore unless you just want to. I mean, some people do absolutely fine on keto and, you know, are able to eat some vegetables or maybe even a little fruit or whatever. And that's fine. But if you are still having issues or you've stalled out on your weight loss or whatever, you might want to give carnivore a try and just to see if it, you know, moves you that little bit more ahead for your goals. But you know, it's not necessarily for everyone, and that's okay. That is okay. Sean Baker will be the first one to tell you, hey, you may not have to go that far, but if you're still having issues, you might want to try it.
That's right. Well, listen, we got about 4 minutes left. I want to let everybody know this is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel at KetovoreKast. And, of course, it's going to be up on Amber's Instagram Live or for 24 hours. Feel free to share it with anybody you think might benefit from it. And, Amber, if you got any parting closing thoughts you'd like to share? He's pressuring me at the end here. I don't like that very much.
Yeah. Okay, you go first. How about that?
Okay. I appreciate so much. We had a wonderful turnout tonight. You all have been fantastic with your questions and your comments. We appreciate you all so very much. And we'd like to do these a little more often, but we've got lives. And sometimes there's just too much to do, and we're only able to do one a month for a while. But as soon as we're able, we'll pick them up, the frequency up, and try to do them every couple of weeks at least. But we really appreciate you all coming out and spending time with us. Do the things you know you need to do to take care of you. And never forget, you've always got something to be thankful for. Blessed Lenten season to you too, Bright Blur. Thank you. Amber?
Thanks, y'all. Y'all have been really wonderful. Yeah. So, what I wanted to say, that's what I wanted to say. For those of y'all who have not gone and checked out meatrx.com, do it. There's a lot of stuff on there that you don't have to sign up for or whatever. You can just kind of check some things out. But there are great success stories on there. They even have they have that new doctor section, right? The healthcare section, which is kind of cool.
There's research papers that you can read and study results that you can read.
And if you're interested in a coach, it's very, very affordable if you're interested in anything like that. It's just a wonderful resource. It really is. Sean is putting in so much work, and well, a lot of us are putting in a lot of work. But I think this platform is really going to do well. We're having a lot of growing pains, but that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Yeah, just a little bit. But it's going to be awesome, y'all. There's some really fun stuff coming up. So check it out.
And the first month is free.
Yeah, if you do want to sign up, you get a month free. So that's pretty cool.
Appreciate you hanging out with us, Sarah. Have a great night.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see y'all next time.
Take care.